Well, Ron and Savannah, this is Georgia 400, just outside of the perimeter. This is the area Sandy Springs police says they arrested a guy, get this, who was clocked going 122 miles per hour. And this isn't a one-off case. Well, Jennifer, you said it earlier. Say it ain't so. Inconvenience is an understatement, as the parking here at the world's busiest airport is set to get harder. In fact, this lot behind me is the first one to close. This is a switch. It looks harmless, but if you're caught with one, officials say you'll face a lot of time. That's because it has the ability to turn a regular handgun into an automatic weapon. Less than 5 minutes ago, city officials, the actual commission for the City of Atlanta Department of Transportation came out here, and what they tell me is this massive hole right here was created from a water main break. From a non-evasive weapons detection system to a push-button crisis alert, DeKalb County Schools is implementing new safety enhancements that they hope will keep students safe and intruders out. Sign clutter indeed, and take a look at just how many signs are at this one intersection, and they line both sides of Main Street. The effort to go from this to this has caused many women to use straightening products that have now been linked to cancer.
I was terrified. I was terrified. I just didn't want to die. That was my main focus.
Toya Dickerson is among the many women diagnosed with endometrial cancer, despite not having any established risk. Instead, Dickerson says she was exposed to chemicals known to cause cancer from her hair products.
I've been using relaxers. Well, I had been using since I was about 16, 17 years old. Just because of the marketing, like it gave me that sleek look, like it was manageable, and I just felt like it was something that it would be easier for me, or maybe it may help me look better.
But the pressure for more manageable hair came at a price, as Dickerson's cancer diagnosis resulted in her having a hysterectomy. According to a study from the National Institute of Health, those who use chemical straighteners have a higher risk of uterine cancer and fibroids. Dr. Katrina Gibson broke down the numbers.
Of women who have never used hair straighteners, only about 1.64% of these women would contract uterine cancer by the age of 70. However, women who use these straighteners regularly, approximately 4 times per year, had a rate of 4.05% of uterine cancer. That's almost 3 times the risk.
This issue has prompted multiple lawsuits.
If they didn't know, they should have known. Manufacturers of these products, that is their wheelhouse. That is their duty to know about their product, to test it, to be able to substantiate its safety.
As the legal process plays out, those like Dickerson say their lives have forever been changed.
I have to realize the fact that I'm married to somebody who I couldn't give children to. And it's caused a lot of anxiety, it's caused a lot of depression, and it's been rough, but if I can go back and change the hands of time, I would never touch a relaxer.
We're also told the FDA is now considering banning the use of formaldehyde in many hair products because it has been linked to cancer. Well, the attorney for May's family tells me this case will have statewide implications, putting jailers on notice that if they commit a crime against an inmate, they will be held responsible.
What it does is the criminal case against the officers will resume. They will have to face charges for felony murder.
Attorney Michael Harper represents the family of Antonio May, the inmate who died back in 2018, shortly after being arrested and taken to the Fulton County Jail.
He was arrested for misdemeanor throwing rocks to the window. He goes to the jail and he refused to put clothes on, and for that he was tased and beaten and pepper sprayed, put in a restraint chair. His heart went out and he died.
6 jailers were indicted on murder charges in connection with May's death. The decision was overturned on a technicality, claiming the jailers were peace officers and should have been given the opportunity to participate in the indictment proceedings. Wednesday, the Supreme Court overturned the ruling and the indictment was reinstated. But Noah Pines, who represents one of the 6 jailers, says their fight isn't over.
I'm still looking at the decision from the Supreme Court and will probably file a motion to reconsider, because I think there are some material facts that they admitted from their opinion.
Pines admits getting the higher court to reconsider is an uphill battle. In the meantime, May's family members hope they will finally get justice.
When I first watched the video and when I saw them bring him out and continue to put a bag over his head and poke him to see if he was still moving, and every time he moved, they would put it back on him. And it was just a chilling moment for all of us because, I mean, you shouldn't do a human being or not even an animal that way. Justice needs to be served.
So when will this case go to trial? Good question. I'm told that 3 of the attorneys representing the jailers also represent 3 of the defendants in the Trump indictments, and that could create a conflict. Bobeth Yates, 11 Alive News. Inside this 31-page document are statements from 6 troopers who fired at Tehran during that clearing operation at the area now dubbed Cop City. And the statements from the troopers are all consistent. They say they had no choice but to open fire because Tehran fired at them first.
There is nothing new for me, really, for us. Nothing new. All speculations.
Belkis Tehran is the mother of Manuel Paez Tehran, the protester who was shot and killed at the future site of the Atlanta Public Safety Training Center. She's reacting to the 31-page investigation by the GBI into the incident. According to the document, when troopers approached the tent Manuel Paez was in, they asked Tehran to get out of the tent, but Tehran told troopers it was them who needed to leave. Troopers say they deployed pepper balls, and that's when Tehran began firing, shooting 4 shots from their 9mm pistol, and then deployed an improvised explosive device. The documents went on to say that's when officers opened fire, killing Tehran.
The report that was released by the District Attorney of the Mountain Judicial Circuit did not represent any new investigation whatsoever, and instead consisted of a repetition of the claims made and the reports made by the original Georgia State Patrol officers.
Brian Spears, the attorney for the family, says not only did the report only include the officer's statements, but it failed to provide any evidence to support the officer's claims.
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation has once again stepped in to say that they will not release any of the evidentiary materials that should be subject to our inquiry and review, and will not do so because of charges that are brought against other persons for other dates and other events that have nothing to do with the death of this young person.
And without the supporting evidence for the report, the family says they believe this is a cover-up.
And they say one thing and they say other thing. They spread pepper bullets or whatever, and there was no pepper in Manuel's body. I mean, so many lies and contradictions.
The GBI committed the assassination. The GBI did the so-called investigation.
Now the family says they're now focused on healing, but their fight is not over. They say they will continue to fight for justice for their son. Sending it back to you guys. Well, Jennifer and Rod, according to the Georgia Coordinating Center, a website that is used by EMS and hospital officials, multiple hospitals in the metro Atlanta area are at critical capacity. And as a result, they're trying to come up with any ways possible to care for the patients, including housing some of those patients in hallways.
Well, we certainly have been very busy here at Piedmont Henry Hospital.
David Kent is the CEO of Piedmont Henry Hospital. He says since the pandemic, their patient volume has been at an all-time high, and they're running at capacity or close to it on a regular basis.
The other reality is that when our hospital is full, we don't turn anyone away through our emergency department. That's part of our mission. What we end up doing is we turn parts of our emergency department into an inpatient unit and caring for those patients there.
Piedmont Henry Hospital isn't alone. Georgia House Minority Leader James Beverly says it's happening all across the state.
I mean, it's in Savannah, it's in Macon, it's everywhere. It's not just Atlanta that's having an overflow.
And Beverly tells me the problem is being driven by multiple things.
I mean, people are out of bed space. You couple that with, workforce shortages that have happened all over the state. And the reality is that, look, the governor has not extended health care benefits to all Georgians. And that is really the crux of the problem, right? Because people are now using emergency rooms as a place for preventative care because they don't have insurance.
And while many hospitals have found short-term fixes to meet the demand, for example, using hallways for extra space, Piedmont Henry Hospital says they're working on a long-term solution with the construction of a new hospital tower.
So we're going to be breaking ground at the most likely in January of of 2024. It's going to be 96 beds and 3 more operating rooms. It's going to go a long way to serve not only people of Henry County, but this entire region for quite some time. We're really excited about it.
Now, State Representative Beverly also tells me that Georgia choosing not to expand Medicaid and the closing of the Atlanta Medical Center all just kind of exasperated the problem, especially locally. And they say they're urging you to reach out to your state representative